So, good afternoon, good morning, wherever you're joining from. Welcome to another We Create Space Community Building 101 session. We are delighted to be joined by Barcelona LGBTQ plus fitness organization and group at Panteres Grogues, and we're going to be hearing lots from them shortly about the incredible work that they do. Just to introduce myself, my name is Neil Hudson-Basing. My pronouns are he, him. I am the Community and Events Director for We Create Space. I've been with We Create Space for over 2 years now, and Community Building 101 is something that we put together because we really see how community building is the foundation of so much when it comes to creating inclusive, safe, and thriving workplaces, organizations, teams, and individuals as well. It's all centered around three pillars, which is inclusion, well-being, and leadership. And today we're going to be focusing on well-being through fitness and sport. Just what we've seen come out of these conversations is so much around actionable strategies, insights, and tools that promote effective and positive change, collective learning, workplace culture, and shared values. And we've really seen the mutual benefits of corporate ways of working intertwined with grassroots principles. And that's something that I've really loved about some of the organizations that we've worked with throughout the series. We started off speaking to mainly UK organizations. So we chatted with Trans History Week, which is a global calendar movement that was created 2 years ago. We moved on to Voda, which is the LGBTQIA mental health app. We then spoke with UK Black Pride. Towards the end of last year, we spoke to Uga which is a Singaporean LGBTQ plus organization. And today we're speaking to Panteres Grogues, who are based in Barcelona. So we're looking at community building around the world. Just in terms of how the session is going to run, there's going to be some short introductions from our guest speakers. And then we will dive into a conversation, and then there's time for audience Q&A as well. So if you've got any questions at all, please feel free to pop them in the chat box, or you can pop them in the Q&A box if you're more comfortable doing so. We encourage you to pop your thoughts and comments in the chat box throughout. Far from detracting from the session, they help to bring it to life. And yeah, we'd love to answer your questions and get some live dialogue going. Beltran, Judith, and myself also have prepared some key takeaways on this topic. The three of us are really passionate about this topic, and so we've got some takeaways for you to go about into your day as well. Just a little bit of a group agreement. We'd love you to be open and respectful. We encourage curiosity centered in kindness. Some of the topics we covered today, they might be challenging, they might be a bit triggering. Take care of yourself whilst listening. Please feel free to step away if you need to. The session is being recorded, and we'd love you to share that afterwards with anyone you feel might be interested from the session. So that's all from me. I'm going to stop sharing my screen now. So bear with. And I'm going to hand over to our first guest speaker, Beltran, to introduce yourself. And Judith is just joining now. So we'll give Judith a second.
Okay, thank you, Neil. And first of
Fantastic.
all, I want to thank the whole team of We Create Space. Also, not only for me, but also for our organization, it's very important to receive this recognition from other organizations worldwide and around Europe to share the work we've been doing, our mission, and our daily challenges that we face as a sports organization. So thank you everything for being here and giving us your ears and time. My name is Beltran. I'm 34 years old. I'm originally from Argentina. I've been living in Spain for 4 years, and I played rugby most of my life. I've also been a queer person most of my life, but that was a late development because of growing up in a sports centered environment. So as soon as I came out, sport activism was one of my key interests in terms of social change and activism. So I've been part of different sports organizations around rugby and LGBTQ diversity since 2015 in Argentina, and now in Panteras Grogues since I moved to Barcelona. And also I'm part of the area that Panteras Grogues um, created to have volunteers directly involved in the activism part of the organization, in the issues that concern women, diversity, um, and yeah, political involvement of the members, not only the sports part of the organization.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for being here. Love hearing about your journey into sports as well. I think as queer people, our journeys are often so different when it comes to how we come into sports and fitness as well. Because for some of us, we're for me, my experience is kind of it wasn't a place where I saw myself represented. So I came into it quite late. So it's always interesting to hear what people's journeys are into sports and well-being. Judith, thank you so much for joining us. Sorry about the tech issues. Welcome. How you doing?
Thank you so much. Sorry, I was in another meeting and then, as you know, yeah, tech issues. Sorry,
All
and
good.
hello
All
everybody.
good.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, please take a moment to introduce yourself, Judith. Tell us about who you are and what you do. Obviously, we're familiar with you at We Create Space and the work you do, but if you're happy to share a bit more about that with our audience today.
Sure. Thank you so much. So hello everybody. So my name is Judith. I'm originally from Barcelona, so I grew up here, born and bred. So I could say I was a kind of like semi-professional basketball player. So I've always been very involved in any and all levels into sport and also movement. And so when I think I was very aware as well of the issues or the challenges or stigma or discrimination that girls and women face in sport at different levels, mostly because of well, gender, sexuality, and other issues or social identities. And so when I was 19, I went to the Netherlands to finish my degree. I studied like a combination of tourism, culture, and sports studies. And then I fundamentally worked for about 12 years in different countries. In the UK, I was in Africa and Cape Town, South Africa for a bit, and also in the Nordic countries. Always looking for organizations that were committed to make a positive impact on minority groups, particularly in my case on girls and women in and through sport. So after that, I also had experiences in sport. I continuously played basketball and other sports myself. And then 5 years ago, I came back to Barcelona, and then I kind of everything mixed together and aligned for me to start a little bit more my academic journey. So I started my PhD at the National Institute of Physical Education of Catalonia, which is here in Montjuic. And my PhD focused on the experiences of lesbian and bisexual women coaches in Spain. So I've been also involved a bit more, right, with different academic networks, LGBTIQ plus sport and physical education network here in Spain. We also have international collaborations. I've been working also a bit more again no, on the academic or education side of it in relation to LGBT in sport, physical education movement. And with Panteras, I got involved actually when I came back, like 5 or 4 years ago. Obviously, first as a player, I'm in different like sports and sections, and then also with the Women's Diversity Commission. And I've been working, no, particularly with the well with Beltran as well in the commission. Working more focus on trying to attract and also to retain groups that are underrepresented within the LGBTIQ plus community within the sport club. That maybe this is something that is going to come up again in the conversation. So I'll just leave it here.
Thank you so much. And I think that what that says is, not only is there so much going on different teams and di the different sports that you do, but there's so much more to Panteras Grogues than just the actual play in the game, right? There's the sociological side of things, there's the research, there's the political and the understanding that we need, the issues around marginalized groups. So are you happy to give us a little bit more of a background as to the story and history of Panteras Grogues, when it started, why it was started, and then perhaps a little bit more on the organizational side of it, such as the structure and even the funding. We want to know more about it.
Okay.
Beltran, you go. Yeah,
I can
yeah.
start with the boring part. No. Well, nowadays, Panteras Grogas is a multi-sports and cultural club organization. It's not only based in physical activity and sports. Luckily, we have different groups that engage in artistic activities like chorus. We have a choir. We have theater, salsa, and other disciplines that are not specifically interpreted as sports. But Panteras Grogas started around 1994 with a group of gay men playing volleyball at the beach in Barcelona. Like in beach cities in Spain in general, beach volleyball it's a big social gathering of people, and it has a big impact in leisure around queer people globally. So it was them that they try to organize and create a space that was meant to host LGBTQ people, originally gay men, but then shortly it became a bigger movement. And now, many years ago, like it was 22 years ago, if I'm not wrong. No, 32 years ago now, because it's 1994. Well, many years after that, it has more than 5,000 associates, people that participate in different activities. We have many people that participate in more than one section. We call each of the disciplines sections. And people that are involved in other areas of the organization, like Judith and me, but there is also other areas like communication, or we have a scholarship program for trans people that tries to lower the costs to zero for trans people that want to join one of our sections. So yeah, all this involvement is surrounding the same organization, but luckily the point of view and the focus is around sports and cultural activities, but it's also around the thing that gathers us today, which is well-being within the LGBTQ community.
Yeah, yeah. And under well-being, it sounds like belonging is a massive factor as well with Panteras Grogues, creating that sense of belonging and such. Judith, you mentioned reaching marginalized groups that are underrepresented, and so I'm curious as to what outreach looks like for Panteras Grogues. How do you reach those communities that are perhaps not so well represented within sports and fitness?
Yeah, thank you for the question. It is very interesting and also is a complex topic to address. Like Beltran mentioned, and I'll also explain a bit. So I think historically, most of the LGBTIQ plus clubs, not just Panteras Grogues. Panteras Grogues is the biggest in Spain, but also we have other clubs like Real Madrid and many others also in Valencia and also in other European countries and elsewhere in the world. So the thing is that historically those spaces have been more occupied, let's say, by one particular group of the community for several reasons, right? And this is an issue because even even if Panteres Grogues and other clubs are LGBTIQ plus, up until relatively recently, we still had categories, right? So with categories, I mean, if I wanted to join Panteras, for example, I could go play basket feminine, which is like female basketball, or I could go play male basketball, no, basket masculine. Therefore, obviously, I think everybody here understands the issue. If I do not fit, or I don't feel like I fit, or I just simply don't want to play in one of those two, then this becomes an issue because if you cannot see yourself represented in the first place, it is very practically impossible that you are going to join that space and see what happens, right? So that's the first step. So I think from a organizational point of view or perspective, this is one of the things that changed last year, and also with the new board members, there was a big change of the board like a couple of years ago. So a lot more diverse people, and with that I mean sexualities, genders, also expressions, etc., join the board. So that also meant that we could foster more visibility and representation in the board, but also on the different actions. So that meant for us that instead of having those two fixed, right, and more normative categories, they kind of changed or evolved. So now we have a category that is more, let's say, general, and then we have a category that is Flinter, right? So the German term, as you might also know. So we have, for example, in basketball, a few trans women that have joined for the past like year. 4 or 5 people have joined, and they told us, not the first day, obviously with trust and confidence, but they told us like before I wouldn't even know that this was a safe space because I couldn't see myself represented. But then with a simple say change in the name and the category, then we got more people to join. Another great initiative is also we have a tournament. It's called Donna Sport. So it's like well, Donna is women, and Donna Sport. So it's a tournament that this year is actually the 20th anniversary. So we're quite proud of it. And if you Google it, you'll see it. So I welcome everybody to come. Because basically we run different like sport activities, social events within 3 months. Sorry, not May, April, May, and June, if I'm not wrong. So this is a chance for us to get, for example, as many women as we can to try out our activities. No, we have music. It's not about competition, but it's about no having a good time, meeting new people, finding a safe space, and then through that tournament every year, no, we're able to engage with more women, which is great, and hopefully we will do more.
Thanks so much. I mean, that's a great. I mean, it's great to hear what's going on, and I just wondered, in terms of the holistic health of the community, kind of like what are some of the impact that you've seen? Because we've touched briefly on kind of those harder to reach groups and such, and the LGBTQ plus community's barriers to fitness, particularly around representation. What's been the impact that you've seen when it comes to the holistic health of our community, be that individuals or groups?
I can start answering, and
Yeah.
then you can join Judith if you want. But for me, the key aspect of it all is be able to break some logics that are established within the mainstream or hetero cis sports universe. And I think that some people, like even some queer people, I include myself in that, we join queer sports thinking, okay, it will be kind of the same, but with queer people around me. And luckily, and because of many things that happen within our career inside queer sports, we realized that being part of an LGBTQAI diversity sports organization means also trying to break some logics that are embedded within the sports logic, like Judith was saying, that the gender-based categories, or even some ways of teaching sports. Like in my experience, one of the biggest things that I learned is the specifics um, on teaching didactics, the didactics dynamics that coaches and trainers need to have with LGBTQAI people, especially in group sports. We, there is like a lot of scientific and sociological evidence in studies that show that queer people are usually ejected away from sports and mainly group sports like soccer, football, basketball, rugby, because of many dynamics that are embedded within them, homophobia, LGBTQI phobia, and misogyny and everything that we know. So learning that we are here also to challenge these type of things that are established within the the sports world in general, it's one of the biggest learnings, because well-being means being able to question some things that are given for granted and say, okay, we are here to also question gender-based categories. We are here to question the the success approach. Either you win or you're a loser, and there are no, like, it's very binary if we think about it, when you can actually lose a competition and learn and enjoy a lot, and that's also a win for a team or for a person. So breaking those logics, I think, are the biggest challenges that LGBTQI sports organization have, because we need to do it for our teammates, the people that we share sports with. Like Judith was saying, like, trans people didn't feel like it was safe until somebody took management commitment that said we need to break gender-based categories. And I think that we are also, making a change on questioning the way that coaches take teams forward. We have a mandatory LGBTQ diversity training for all the coaches that work in Panteres Grogues, because whether they have a background on queer people or not, we want them to know about diversity, about gender-based discrimination and sports psychology. So I think that idea of like gaining back that terrain of, okay, well-being is not only coming here and practice the sport that you like with people that are like you, it's also trying to build the whole world around it and inside with other rules, in order to make people feel better and safer in this environment.
How important do you think it is then, as everyone, to take on the role of leadership? Because you spoke a lot, you spoke a bit about a change in board recently, and how that was such a positive thing. And we've heard it come up again and again during Community Building 101 about the importance of leadership that is psychologically safe. You're feeling free to challenge the way things are done, empathy, learning new information, and the sustainability of organizations. If you have a board that is in place for such a long time and there's no transference of power, then things don't change and things don't move along. So within Panteres Grogues, are you in, does the team feel empowered to challenge the status quo and to say, actually, we could be doing this a bit differently for our community?
Do you want to answer, Judith, or
You can go and I can continue.
okay, if you want to hop in with some other, but in my point of view, it's not only it's a two-way road, but it's never from the way down up. If you don't have management or higher hierarchy commitment on this type of changes, usually LGBTQI organizations historically taking leadership being like occupied by male figures tends to be a little bit obviously male centered, but also to take these issues as something that comes in second, like trans people in inclusion or non-binary people identification with the sports categories, even the whole trans women in competitive sports issue that is challenging the world right now. Like if you have seen the news, it's a very important topic being discussed right now. There is a young girl going against a whole system in the Supreme Court of her country, trying to just advocate for her being able to play with her teammates. So I think all these subjects need to go in two ways, but they need to reign from above. But also, if the organization doesn't follow that, and if you have an organization that only has a board that is very progressive, but then all the other members are, yeah, okay, like trans people in sports, yeah, that's something someday it will be, solved. You are not able to make the change. So you need that management commitment that reigns from above, but you also need to create consciousness within the members on the importance of these issues and how like game changing they can be.
Judith, did you want to come in there?
Well, this is just not it's not rocket science, is it? Like, you need to have people that represent the people you're serving, period. Like, I think a lot of people understand the complexity is it comes when, again, historically, right? And this is also, I think I use this word a lot, historically, because historically means that for a very long time, or for an extended period of time, there has been certain groups of people that have been perhaps dominating or occupying a space, and that has a lot of consequences, right? You increase the participation of this group, and therefore also the hiring of new people into the board that are like the group, and then there's less opportunities and even less opportunities for those people that are not present in those rooms. So it's not rocket science. It's a change that we needed it. Panteres Grogues, it happened, and it was fantastic. And I think a lot of initiatives and conversations started to come up after that change.
Yeah, it sounds really positive. Staying on the theme of positive, I want to move on to fun and play because when we think about well-being and Beltran, I know this is something that you touched on earlier, and it features in our takeaways actually, which is challenging ourselves to enjoy something, not necessarily for productivity, not necessarily to be the best, but actually because we just simply enjoy it. So I'd
Mm.
love to hear what fun and play looks like at Panteres Grogues and why it's so important and how you create this for
Yeah.
your associates.
I mean, I think it's first of all, it's incredible as a sign of our time that we are discussing not doing something for productivity. It's a very social sickness that all of us are suffering, and it creates us this huge guilt complex of, okay, I'm not being productive.
Yeah.
I'm not reaching a goal. I'm not performing better. I'm not closer to accomplish something, which it's the complete opposite of the early Greek Athenian ideal of sports and arts. Sports and arts were conceived in the way that like Olympic Games celebrated now, but they were conceived in this classical Athenian ideal, Greek Athenian ideal of an activity for the activity itself. something that doesn't need to have a goal. It doesn't need to have a place to reach, like an endpoint, but it can have it. Like it can be a second consequence, like more of a consequence than a cause. And we are stopping seeing sports and physical activity as a consequence, and we're seeing like the motivation behind physical activity and sports as a consequence. We're only using it as a cause, like we're trying to say, okay, I'm gonna do sports because it's what my cardiologists want me to do. I'm gonna do sports because I want to lose weight and I want to look more similar to this impossible to reach beauty standards. I want to do sports because I'm feeling lonely and I need to share time with people, which is great. I'm not saying that any of these goals are not valid, but we need to regain that terrain of just doing sports or playing a game or playing, like beach volley or anything, just for the fun of it. And if we are not able to regain that terrain, we are losing so many things that were embedded in sports before this whole like craziness of like I have to sign up in this gym and follow all these fitness influencers that will show me how to do perfectly these exercises and gain more muscle and put more weights in the same exercise and blah blah blah, which is the good things of celebrating the ability, the human ability of making mistakes, laughing about them, exploring different roles. Some people are expected to say, look, now you're started running, so you need to become a runner. No, you have to be able to explore the idea of maybe running is not for me and I like biking. I don't know, like maybe group sports are not for me and I prefer do swimming. So this idea of going on and off the pitch without judgment, be able to play and lose time, waste time, which means like it sounds so crazy these days, like I'm wasting my time, but we need to gain back that, the ability of quote unquote waste our time, because playing can be this form of resistance against this overly productive capitalist and too serious world that in the end also excludes the idea of being queer, because like if you're not forming a stereotypical family, having biological children and following this path, you're not being productive with your biography. So I think queer sports are also there to break these narratives with queer people, and also for non-queer people. We have many members in the club that are not queer people, and their growth has also been great because they are able to share time and change their mentality in sharing with queer people.
That's so beautiful to hear. I mean, yeah, I'm all for tackling this capitalist approach to well-being. I mean, it's certainly how my journey into fitness started. I wanted to look a certain way, but actually now it's become so much more about that. It's community for me, but also it's how I maintain my well-being. And I can tell if I haven't done it, and being able to let go of that. Actually, I'm not doing it for this reason. I'm doing it because this makes me feel good and it keeps me feeling really healthy.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really curious with then that focus on fun and play. How do you maintain that with a healthy balance of encouraging competitiveness, and avoiding goal setting? What's a healthy balance look like between competitiveness and fun and play?
I think Judith is perfect to answering this because she has a lot of academic studies on on coaches and how to coach people. So
Thank you for the question again. It is a complex question, and it's a complex, I think. I mean, complexity is not negative, it just means that it's complex, right? Well, first of all, I'd like to remind ourselves, since we're talking about this and LGBT space and Panteres Grogues, now in this case, that there's so many people. within the community that they have negative experiences in physical education, in schools, in any kind of like club-based sport when they kids, when they grow up. Uh, it is practically impossible to find a sport club or activities that are not normative and are not categorized with gender binaries that obviously do not conform to society, right? So that's why this club of Panteres Grogues is particularly relevant, right? Because there's a space where you can go, you can be yourself. It's super diverse. I mean, everybody is super like fun, is inclusive, is like Beltran was saying, right? It is about having fun and fostering a sense of belonging. Um, and this is from my point of view. Back to your question in relation to the balancing fun, leisure with competitiveness, right? So I think there's also a lot of people from the community that they had experiences in competitive sport, myself included, right? I played competitive sport pretty much up until I was 27. So I think there is a mix of experiences, people, backgrounds, countries. It's a melting pot of many things. But I think one thing that we want to continue fostering is not so much competitiveness in relation to winning is the goal, right? I mean, a lot of people that play sport, well, you might like to win, right? I mean, it's not a bad thing when no, maybe you win a game and you celebrate with your with your friends or your colleagues, etc., right? But just not focusing on that. For example, we have in some sports we have also coaches, right? So we talk to the coaches. We make sure that they understand where they are and who is our community and what the needs are as well. You can't come to a training and be very strict and like start shouting like that's never gonna work. And anyways, you're gonna be kicked out in a second, right? So I think it's that mix between people want to have fun, people want to play, but everybody is on their own rhythm. And again, the goal is not winning, right? The goal is to have fun, come have a laugh. It doesn't matter how you are that day. If you can make it great, if you're feeling amazing, come anyways, right? So it is that kind of sense of no matter you don't need to be in any specific way physically or mentally to come to our space. That's the point.
Yeah, I thank you for sharing that because people communicates to gyms and clubs and teams with this sense of duty, like I have to be my best today, I have to perform perfect at the practice. And for me it's great for people to come and be honest and say to the captain or the teammates, listen, I didn't have a great day today, so I might like step aside, I want to watch, I'm not able to train, but I didn't want to miss training, I want to be with you guys. I think that's a big win for a sports place, to be able to foster people that are not in their best or in their prime during that week.
Yeah. And we hear those conversations in corporate spaces as well, right? We can't just leave everything at the door when we show up because what's going on in the world, the impact of our identities and what we're seeing, that we bring that into every space we occupy. We can't just leave it at the door and pretend it's not there. So I think it's again building the bridge between kind of corporate spaces and grassroots spaces and how what leadership looks like. Sure, people love to win. So, there's no doubt about that. Yes, we're in it for the game and it's really fun. But actually, success, whatever that looks like and feels like for an individual, is a really great feeling. And I'd love to know, what does celebrating success look like at Panteres Grogues? What does it feel and look like when you do have a win? And how do you harness celebrating that success for your community building?
Well, I'm trying to remember the opportunities where we have won.
Or felt successful, because
No, 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 but
yeah.
I do remember them. The thing is that they are very deeply emotional for me because, rugby is a very male dominant sports within the male categories. In women's categories have different dynamics, but within the male categories, rugby has a lot of specific ways of gender expression, expectations. So a team like us challenges many of the pre concepts that some people might have even before the game. They know they're gonna play against Panteres Grogues, so they are preparing themselves mentally to play against a team of queer people, of generally gay and bisexual men. So for us, winning, it's more about winning over that stigma than winning over the other team. And rugby is very it's very how do you say, it's a sports that cultivates this idea of camaraderie a lot within the rivalry. We arrive to the field like rivals, but you are supposed to leave the field as friends with the other teams, because we have all these traditions of like drinking or having or sharing some food after the match and blah blah blah, and laughing about the things that happen. So for us, winning, it's more about winning over that stigma, and then also we have other victories. Like Barcelona has a very important tradition of around San George's Day, San Jordi, and people here, many organizations like gather and sell roses and books because they are symbolically attached to that patron. And we as organization have our own stand in the city, and we sell like roses, but like we sell the rainbow roses or just red roses, and we host spaces for queer writers to come. And these small victories of being able to be seen and people coming just to buy a rose because they pass by and it's a tradition, but having a small second to learn what Panteras Grogues is about, and learning that an LGBTQI sports space exists, even like elder people, families, and couples, and whatever, and them, even buying with this like rainbow rose for some other queer person they know as a gesture of appreciation of their identity. I think those wins for us are even greater, because it fills our heart with this knowing that you're on the right path, even if you don't win all the matches in the tournament, but at least you are leaving a small mark in all the lives of the people that you touch, the other people, the supposedly straight people that we play against.
Thank you so much. That's so beautiful. And again, just tapping into that, it's just so much more than just the activity itself. It's the community around it. Judith, is there anything you want to add to that part?
Just like any other team, no? Or I don't know, activity. So much fun, right? When you win. We went to the Euro Games. So for those who do not know, right, we have for LGBT like sport, let's say competitions or tournaments, we have the ones that are local or regional, right? So within Spain in this case, because we're here. Then we have the Euro Games, which happen every year in a different European capital. And then we have the Gay Games, which similar to the Olympic Games, because those are held once every 4 years. And actually, this year they're going to be held in Valencia for the first time in history. So yeah, it's going to be a big hit. So yeah, we went to the Euro Games last year. I participated with the basketball, and No, just a lot of fun. It's just, just a lot about community, meeting people from different countries, different teams. There's a lot of love, in and out in changing rooms, like in the bars, in the cafeteria. So it is a really, really good time. And we had a very diverse teams as well, of basketball. Hmm.
Thank you so much. I'm really keen to get throw it over to the audience shortly and ask if you have any questions. So if you do have any questions for Beltran
They
and
they
Judith.
send they send a question over here.
Ah, perfect. We'll get round to that shortly. Before we close out the conversation, I've got two more questions for you both. Um, what do each of you love the most about your roles at Panteres Grogues? What brings you the most joy in terms of what you do, either being part of the team or being part of the different clubs that you're part of? And then finally, what's next for Panteres Grogues in terms of your hopes for the future? When it comes to LGBTQ access for sport. Beltran, I'll come to you first.
Good.
So, yeah.
um, about my role, I think that the biggest personal enjoyment that I have is that my journey within rugby was very related to my identity. My family, my dad and my brother plays rugby as well. I grew up with that. I learned how to love the sports, but then there was always something that was not entirely clicking with me, which was how my identity didn't click with rugby, actually. And I thought for a long time of my teenage years that those two things couldn't coexist, you know? And I think homophobia stole one of the things that I loved the most away from me, which was the love for these sports. So when I was able to gain that back, to say, okay, it's possible to be an openly queer person and play rugby. For me, was a huge personal step in my life, and being able now to pass over that passion to that sport to other queer people that never had the chance of coming across the sports, and they're curious on learning. It's for me the thing that I love the most, like not mentoring, not this idea of hierarchy, like somebody above the other person, but being able to share a passion that it's deeply next to your heart, and that I would all the chances that I didn't have to play rugby when I was either injured or away or in college. I was feeling that something was missing. So when I have the chance of sharing this with other person, for me it's very beautiful, because yeah, because it's like, okay, you can make this other person's journey with rugby different, because they can know from point zero that it is possible to be queer and a rugby player and enjoy the sports. And the future for Panteras Grogas, I hope that we're able to achieve more goals in terms of bettering the quality of life and the quality, like the sustainability of our sections. Many of them struggle with getting, funding, fields, places to practice the sports, paying the wages to the coaches, equipment. So all those things are challenging in the views of future, because the amount of member keeps growing, but you need to be able to have the infrastructure to hold that, and that's definitely a challenge.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Judith.
Yeah, thank you so much. I'll be quick because of the also interested in hearing the audience. I think for me, my contributions are at different levels. I think obviously a personal level, right? Hope to continue enjoying the space and building communities in different sports and different sections. I also, as I mentioned before, I work quite closely with the public sector here in Catalonia and Spain. So with different sport councils, sport federations, city councils, the government of Catalonia. So oftentimes when they ask to do trainings or workshops for people I mean, for the workers or for the council or for projects or programs. We always try to also include Panteras. They are always very interested in hearing what we do, how we do it, sharing good practices. So also kind of fostering that collaboration. Something else as well, with the main university for sport, we foster a collaboration between the university and Panteres Grogues, so that people could do like sports science students, they could do internships at the sport club. So this is something that we're also exploring and developing. And what's next for Panteras? There's so much, right? Like Beltran said, productivity. There's a lot, right? There's always more that we can do. So I think Panteras is just continuously like growing and basically building a stronger, no, a larger, more inclusive community and club. I think some of the things are in relation to funding, because we do have some sort of funding, right? Whether it's from memberships, sometimes sponsorships, some projects from city council, but obviously the club is run by let's not forget that volunteers, right? And so people dedicate their own time after work. So that adds a complexity, no, to the layer of funding, which is already complex. Funding for me is one of them. For example, hiring more people, no, that more people can actually spend no full time in the club to improve many levels. Develop more programs, foster more sponsorships. That would be fantastic as well. Obviously, that align with the club. Um, and that's about it. So focus on growth development, particularly with different partnerships.
Fantastic. So much to look forward to. And again, the challenges, the challenges in your area around funding is something that so many different organizations, and it's come up again time and time again in Community Building 101, is the need for our community to support what we do. If we want to keep seeing these spaces, we need to get behind them and support them. So I'm going to share the all your details following this session with everyone along with this recording so they can dip back into it. I'd love to throw it open to our audience to see if you have any questions for Judith and Beltran. We've got about 10
I
minutes
think
or so.
they asked the question as a reply to your initial request of questions
There, let me have a look. 2 seconds. I'll bring
in
that
the
up.
chat.
Yep, and you're welcome to ask this. You're welcome to ask a question live or pop it in the chat box. So bear with us. So, Milo, thank you for your question. Uh, you're welcome to ask it live if you want, or I can read it for you, whichever you prefer.
Thanks, Neil. Yeah, I'm happy to read it.
Yeah, go for it.
So yeah, I was just wondering what LGBT plus sports funding looks like in your organizational area. Um, whether there's like barriers to accessing funding which make it harder for queer sports groups to thrive, or whether there's sort of successful funding
Mhm.
projects or programs you can think of that help. Yeah, I'm really curious about that. Thanks.
I'm gonna start it. If you have more details about that, I think you have some insights on the government area of this, because I'm not very aware. But on the private area of this, I think we are witnessing a big step back of companies in terms of LGBTQI sponsoring and the way they want to be related, or they want to have their brands related to LGBTQI diversity. This is not a novelty for many of you. Probably you know how many BAI programs are being funded and etc. So sports in general around the world, and it takes just a minute on turning on the TV and seeing how all the jerseys of all the sports player in the world have logos of brands. Sports around the world are sponsored by brands, and a big amount of the money that sports people, especially amateur sports people, don't need to put from their pocket every time they travel to compete or they travel to participate in a tournament, or even every time they go to train and have to have a field in good conditions, or let's say the water in the pool or equipment. All that money usually comes from either the sports pockets or the sports people pocket or sponsors. So I think that one of the biggest challenges now is in this withdrawal of brands around the LGBTQIA world and the like the whole the rainbow funding and all that problem. I think one of the biggest problems now is reaching out to companies and brands that not only wanna support Panteras Grogues, but they are also committed in a deeper level that matches our values and our point of view um, towards the world and towards sports as a human activity. So that's a big challenge, because you not only have to find brands that wanna put their logo in rainbow colors during June, but also you need to find brands that are committed with the mission and vision of Panteras Grogues all around the year, and they're not only willing to give away money, but also they wanna participate actively in the growing of our organization. So on the private area and on the company area, for us, that's really difficult. The networking and reaching these companies, that many of them are maybe hidden or ready to sponsor us, but they don't know about the club, etc., etc. So that's a big challenging the networking.
Judith, are you happy to come in on the governmental side of funding?
No, I think I would just like to add that, and I think it's more like a conversation rather than my opinion, right? With everybody who is here, but I feel like sometimes there's, I mean, I totally, by the way, agree with Beltran, right? Partners and maybe sponsors that align with our values. But also I think there's some level of informality that still runs through the veins of Panteras Grogues, right? Because it's a volunteer-led sport club, even though it's massive, right? We have a lot of members and we do so many things for so many years. But still, I think there's a level of informality, and obviously, it's not like a company where people, get there at 9 a.m. and spend full-time hours working in the company with processes in place, with structures, with clear direction, vision, and everybody on board. Like it is complex, right? I think it's complex to advance sometimes when there's also a lack of things in place. No, for example, to look for partners that are aligned more with our values, right? So I don't know what people think here. Please, I don't know, open the mic, because this is not like a one side thing, but this is something that I have seen not just in Panteras, also in other sport clubs. On the one hand, it is great. This like everyday level of informality, kind of structured, but in a different way than a like a corporate, right? But then there's also the cons of that. So
Evelyn was having a question here in the chat that is related to this. Do you want to share it, or do you want to expand on this question, Evelyn?
Thank you so much for the opportunity, and Happy New Year. Yes, I'm calling. I'm actually from Kenya, that's Africa, and I lead a human rights and a feminist organization for the queer folks in Kenya. And at the same time, we have a football team. All our advocacies are done based on sports. And we do our advocacy, our activism through sports, where we nurture talents, mostly for LBQ, ITGNC, womex. We also create our own times and safe spaces for wellness, sports, and football. And we just came to realize, because of the laws that are happening in Kenya, which does not favor the LGBTQ person, how do we create safe spaces? And how do we do, what does intersectional diversity looks like in the society? So that is what we've been trying to do, trying to have dialogue within the community, partner with organizations and corporates in terms of sports events. And it has actually really helped us in terms of resource mobilizing, trying to help LBQ women to get their sanitary towels. We work with the corporates, trying to also empower LBQ persons in terms of economic empowerment. We go to the bank. We tell them we have a group of LBQ athletes here and would want you to just give them advocacy or awareness on economic empowerment in times of retirement, or something happens and you cannot play. How does business look like? How do you sustain yourself? And that's why my question came into, like, in terms of partnership, what does exchange program means? How do we sustain the queer athletes in our spaces? Do we just play, or we do activism in sports?
I don't want to
Who are
take
the
a
target
lot longer.
people?
I don't want to take a longer of the thing, but I think we need time to answer this, because the work that you're sharing with us is incredible, Everlyn. I really don't want us for miss the opportunity of addressing what you're sharing. So first of all, thanks so much for sharing this, because it's so empowering and inspiring for the work you're doing. So well, mostly on a one-on-one basis, we would be pleased to reach out to you. So like leave some way of reaching out to you by email, so we can keep in touch. But apart from that, to answer your question real quick, I think that the idea of not counting on the support of a big organization like the government, it's important in this landscape that we are experiencing. I'm not going to explain this to you, because I am very privileged to live in a country that has many guarantees for LGBTQ people. So you probably understand more about this than me, but I see the climate in the world generally now. And I think that for us as queer people to organize, and organize in the most broad way possible, like of this concept of organizing, is the best way to vanquish these difficulties, to find other queer people to be able to support in the way they can, like us giving volunteer time with the knowledge that we might have, like my knowledge in teaching, for example.
Yeah.
But the ability for people to network and find each other has always been the way that we survived when governments were not on our sides. So to answer your question, for me, that's like the biggest power we can have, is organizing and creating not only spaces, but like partnerships within the network.
Right.
Thank you so much. Hopefully you can connect following this session.
Yes, I'm going to save your email and contact you.
Fantastic. We're coming to the close, so we've just got a few takeaways to share with you. So my takeaways, I'll whistle through really quickly. Give yourself time, patience, and self-kindness. Anything physical can be a struggle at first. When I first started running, I couldn't even run a kilometre. And then a few years ago, I ran 100 kilometers from London to Brighton, but the journey was slow, and I hated it until I didn't hate it. So just be kind and patient with yourself. You don't have to be the best at everything to enjoy it. I'm not a very good swimmer. However, I absolutely love swimming. I'm not trying to improve. When I get in that pool, I do some kind of front crawl, doggy paddle style thing. I'm not really sure, but I enjoy it. I enjoy the movement. I enjoy being in the water. So if you enjoy it, you don't have to improve. just roll with it, and celebrate your wins. That might be something small to you, or it might be an epic thing, but there'll be people that are cheering you on. When I first did my 10K, those people that were cheering me on then also cheered me on when I did my 100K as well. And challenge this thing around social media. We hear so many people on social media saying, I don't care that you run 5K. Do you know what? I care that you run 5K. If that was something big to you, then I'm cheering you on all the way. So celebrate your wins and celebrate the wins of others, because you don't know what celebrating others really can mean to them. So those are my few. Judith, I'm going to hand over to you.
Oh my God, I love you so much. I
Thank
don't want
you.
to add anything else. I just want to finish here.
Go for it. Go. We want to hear yours.
Um, well, mine, first of all, is there's no single way to participate. Showing up is just as valuable as training or competing. So we always keep saying that, right? Just show up. Um, the community will be there for you, and it doesn't matter if you had a horrible day, if it was amazing, or what kind of experience you had. Just being you, just by being there, just showing up, is totally valid, and that's what we value. The second one is more related to sport, right? So sport can be the entry point for us, for Panteras, but the shared moments, the relationships, the tournaments, the feeling safe, the drinks after training, often what keep people coming back, right? So going back to that idea of the sense of belonging and the community. And then the last one is for us and for everybody, right? To create spaces where people can connect beyond the activity, right? Oftentimes, community and friendships they happen and they grow in the moments in between. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Those are beautiful as well. Thank you. Eltran.
Well, my first point has a lot of common things and not with Judith's, because for me it's very important to be able to reclaim play as at the end of the sports itself. You can do it for fitness, you can do it for health, but we need to reclaim the ability to just play sports or do physical activity for the play itself. Just being active, moving, it gives you the right to enjoy it. It shouldn't be an obligation. You should enjoy it. So you should find the physical activity that suits you the most and the sports that it suits you the most. And then inclusive sports in the other area, like more organizational area, we can be these safer spaces or act as a way to protect mental health for people, but we need to work on that. It's not just enough with, I don't know if somebody saw the movie Field of Dreams. It doesn't work with just you build the field and people will come, it's not like that. You have to work on a daily basis, affirming these environments, making sure that everybody feels comfortable, working on their well-being, working with coaches and with the teammates, to create this connection that can help with the the daily struggle that we can carry of mental health and discrimination from the outside world, working spaces, family, etc. And then well, it's important to also be able to celebrate other victories that are not only the sports victories. It's not always like conquering by winning the match. The match can be lost, but you can also win something from that experience. Like we enjoy a lot when a player debut, and that maybe the match was awful, but this person had the chance to debut playing rugby in an official tournament. That's a big win for us. So recognizing that individual and collective success gives the strength for the organization to keep going, to be sustainable, and to be able to foster all these people within the sports, and not focusing only on trying to win the competition.
Thank you both so much for today. Thank you for being so willing to collaborate with us. It's brilliant to see Panteres Grogues go from strength and strength. Judith, from those initial kind of conversations with Recreate Space through to today and all the impact you're having. Thank you to our audience for your comments, your contributions. We love you being part of our community. We will share the recording with you as well as feedback survey. Please let us know where we're getting it right, where we can improve, and we'll also share the takeaways with you. But yeah, so much joy to be had from sports and well-being, and again, challenging capitalist ideas and really challenging well-being and time for ourselves and time to move and enjoy that as an act of resistance. So thank you for being here, and we'll be in touch soon. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you so much,
Thank you.
everybody.
Thank
Let's keep
Thank
you.
in
you.
touch.
Take
Yeah, have
care.
a great
Bye.
Take
year,
care, you
everyone.
too.